Hello guys, and welcome back to another video in our channel and another live stream. And we pretty much have a lot to talk about, especially trying to explain whatever happened yesterday. And I thought that this would be a much better version of actually explaining what happened yesterday than actually doing the tactical breakdown. Now, there's just this is just a complimentary view of what is actually happening at Chelsea Football Club. Now, I just want to show you one statistics here that will actually shock you, because it's becoming now quite clear that there is a huge problem. There is a huge problem. So we have to talk about Maresca. We really have to talk about Enzo Maresca, because this is a man who I have done everything to try and defend. He's a man that I actually thought that I probably knew what he wanted to do for Chelsea, and I probably thought that I knew what his main goal for this club was going to be. So what you see in your screen is Chelsea's form last season. Sorry. So yeah, so I hope everybody can be able to hear me. Yeah, so welcome back to another video in our channel, and this is Chelsea's home form last season towards December. This is how Chelsea started their December. And look at that. 3-0 victory over Aston Villa, which I think probably has been one of Chelsea's best performances under Maresca. 5-1 victory over Southampton. 3-4 victory over Spurs. 2-1 victory over Brentford. And this game against Everton, where if Chelsea could have won that game, Chelsea would have gone top of the league, and that's where the wheels fell off. But the wheels fell off almost a game towards Christmas. But that has been different. That has been different this season, because this season, December has already started pathetically. December has already started with Chelsea dropping points like nobody's business. Out of 9 points, Chelsea have just gotten 1 point out of 9 points. Isn't that a mini crisis? The Arsenal game was excused, but yesterday, Moises Caicedo was back into the lineup. Reece James was there. We had our key players there, and still Chelsea did not manage to win. Chelsea lost to an Atalanta side that is dropping pathetic performances in Serie A. Chelsea now have to rely on actually winning against Napoli and hope that other teams drop points so that they don't go to the playoffs. And this is actually raising questions about what we are saying. What is Enzo Maresca doing? Because yesterday's game, I will squarely blame Maresca for that game. I will squarely blame Maresca for that game, because I don't generally understand how Chelsea were in this situation. I just want to see this. I just want to give this illustration before I introduce the panel. I don't understand this thing. When you look at this clip here, is when you actually see where Chelsea's problems are. You understand where Chelsea's problems are. The two most advanced players in attack, players who are supposed to receive the ball in between the lines and look to create, are two fullbacks. And that raises question. That raises serious, pertinent question with regards to Enzo Maresca. And that is just the only thing that I'm talking about. Let me not even talk about the bench. Because it's quite clear that as much as I have tried to be an advocate for Maresca, I've tried to speak for him, I've tried to say good things about him, I've tried to push that probably he understands what he's doing, that he probably knows what he's doing. But what is actually coming into play is that you can't really defend that. So let me just even share another thing about yesterday's game. And this is it. Look at this. Look at this. What do you automatically notice? Look at that bench. Andre Santos, Tyrick George, Bonanote, Estevao, McGew. You have all your attackers on the bench and you're trying to actually get a victory. How is that even happening? How is that even happening for Chelsea? Why is that happening for Chelsea? You are trying to get a goal and you're having all your attacking talents on the bench and you're only having fullbacks occupying those positions. So let us even look at the lineup that Chelsea had. So when you look at the lineup that Chelsea had, automatically that's where the problems even start for Chelsea. Because I just want even to share my screen and just explain before I introduce Mehdi, who's here. So when you look at this lineup that Chelsea had, you already see the problem. Number one, the back line I have no issues with because I expected some rotation. But the midfield, you have Caicedo and Reece James. So in my opinion, I was like, yeah, both of them are going to start because we have to secure this win. However, I was still questioning and asking myself, if both of them, yes, are starting this game, what about Estevao? Because everybody, it was quite clear that Fernandes has been super tired when it comes to Chelsea. Fernandes has been so tired. He's not been able to actually play with the form that we expect him to play with. So Fernandes started that game, Gittens started that game, Neto started that game, and João Pedro. They were facing a solid back five, and that is what Atalanta gave Chelsea. Now, the issue wasn't even because of that, because the way Atalanta looked to press Chelsea is that when Chelsea would look to play from the back, the problem came is that Atalanta were looking to sit in a much conserved region. That's why we saw Atalanta forming this kind of a 5-man block, something like this. And it was heavily concentrated in midfield because they never wanted this ball to enter into that zone. That's why whenever a player like Benoit will receive the ball here, then the forward will press Benoit and the ball will be played back to Sanchez. So whenever Chelsea were looking to build from the back, it was Robert Sanchez who was constantly the free man. That is how Atalanta had made it. And then now they would push the entire back line to try and compensate for Chelsea and their wing backs in this position. So this is how Atalanta looked to stop Chelsea, by preventing any balls getting into the center of the park and having only Robert Sanchez to have the ball. Now, Sanchez, when he had the ball, the problem with that Sanchez experienced in this situation is that even when he had the ball, he did not have options in midfield because all central options were covered. All central options were covered. And the only way that Sanchez will look to do something is to target this space. So what we started to see is that Sanchez was looking to play balls over the top, hoping that players like Neto would find themselves in this position. But you have to give credit to players like Kolasinac, because Kolasinac was so good in actually winning these aerial duels against Neto. And even when Kolasinac was drawn to stop Achimpong, then the wide centre-back was quick to shift across and win those balls. João Pedro, we know very well that he's not a great player when it actually comes to defending the ball, looking to hold up the ball with his back to goal. So even when Sanchez attempted to play balls to João Pedro, he would immediately get out muscle and he will lose the ball. So that was generally the structure that Chelsea had in that game. And even when Chelsea were able to play the ball to midfield, courtesy of rotations in midfield, because what happened is that when Chelsea had now settled possession with the ball, Atalanta will sit into a narrow back five. And I just want to show you how Atalanta really gave problem, because even when you look at the goal that Chelsea scored that goal as a result of a set piece. They did not score that goal because they probably were tearing down Atalanta. No, it was because of a set piece. So it's quite clear that teams are realizing that if you set yourself up in a structured back five, then you probably have an opportunity to stop Chelsea. So what we started to see is that Maresca was using Cucurella more as a wing back, Neto more as a right wing back. Then he will use João Pedro and Gittens in midfield. Now, this is where I just want us to have questions about Maresca, because Chelsea will take up this structure when they had possession. This is the structure that Chelsea will take. So they will have Benoit, Achimpong, Rhys James, and Caicedo in midfield, and then Enzo Fernandez. Now, here is the question. You want to play this structure. Is Gittens an inside forward? That's just the first question you need to ask yourself. Is Jamie Gittens an inside forward? Does Jamie Gittens thrive playing as an inside forward? And even when Jamie Gittens was not thriving as an inside forward, even if he shafted him across, then he will now rely on Cucurella to play in this position. Now, is this the position where you'd want a Cucurella to pick the ball, or this is the position where you'll want Enzo to be actually the one picking the ball? And number two, if you even want to play with a second striker in this kind of fashion, is indeed prudent to actually have McGew? Is indeed prudent to have a player like McGew to be the one to actually come in and probably occupy that position? Is indeed prudent that you have McGew occupying that position if you want to play with two strikers, looking to split, and then you have Fernandez making that run, if that was your intention? And even if so, it was not your intention, then what was the reason why a player like Estevao was actually left out in that lineup? Because clearly Enzo was tired. And if Enzo was tired, the natural replacement is to have Estevao. So if you have Estevao, you have McGew, you have Gittens, and you have Neto, then it clearly shows that you have intentions that you actually want to win that game. You have intentions that you're committing more attacking players into the team with the idea of winning that game. So, Mehdi, I know I'm probably keeping you long, but I just want to pass this information because, first of all, I have to really talk about how I believe Maresca was actually doing. So somebody's saying that it's over, Maresca out. So my situation has always been that I've never taken a stand on this. I've never been out and I've never been in, but I just want to address the issues. I will generally give the manager all the way to the end of the season. Then if it is not working, do as you may, you may, because that is the same thing that happened with Pochettino. They gave Pochettino a full season and see what happened. So that is one thing that I can say, unless there's a crisis. If it's a crisis, then you probably can choose to get rid of the manager. So this was the structure that I expected Chelsea to do. But Maresca opted not for this. Maresca opted to have Cucurella here. He opted to have Fernandez in this position. He opted to have João Pedro into this position. So you have João Pedro playing in that pseudo position, Enzo playing in that pseudo position, and then you have Atalanta clogging this midfield in such a way that they automatically outnumber Chelsea. So Chelsea could not rely on that midfield. Now, even if you cannot rely on that midfield, then you have to rely on your wide center backs to look to carry the ball. But here you have Benoit who cannot carry the ball, but Achimpong, who actually had a good game, could carry the ball forward. Now, even if Achimpong could carry the ball forward and he will look to be closed down, and Neto here will be doubled, Enzo Fernandez will be doubled upon, you automatically make that Neto now has an opportunity to get the ball, but once Neto gets the ball, he's already clogged out with two players. And even Gittens in this position was super ineffective when it came to the way Chelsea were looking to actually play from the back. Now, in the first half, Chelsea are already 1-0 up. I think that was a good scoreline at that point. Then something bad happens. Chalobah, who Maresca is now giving an excuse that he was out because he got a yellow card. Maresca is saying that he took him out because he wanted to rest him, but we clearly know that he panicked and took him out because of a yellow card. He took out Chalobah. He brought in Wesley Fofana into that position of the back three. Now, there's no problem about that. So he brought in Fofana, and Fofana was liable for that for that equalizer. But what even further annoyed the fan base, what further annoyed everyone, is that yes, you want a goal. Yes, you have a position where you can actually look to score. So you have Enzo and Caicedo. So what happens next? He takes away Enzo and then he brings on Gusto. And now you're in this position where João Pedro is playing as a number 9 and then two of your most advanced players. These are two of your most advanced players. Look, the players who are the players who are occupying half space channels, the players who are looking to occupy these positions here, the two attacking positions, are your fullbacks. The two players who are looking to occupy the two most advanced attacking positions are your fullbacks. And you know very well that if you have these two players here, then they don't. Atlanta don't have to worry. They just need to ensure that Caicedo and Reece James don't get the ball, because these two players are super ineffective. Because even if you have the ball to Benoit and then you play the ball to Marc Cucurella in this position, then if a centre back steps out, Cucurella does not have the dribbling ability to dribble and get past the centre back. His main and his natural job in this kind of zone is not to take on a defender, it's just to make a simple back pass and boom. And that is how Chelsea's attacks kept on being killed time and time again, kept on being killed time and time again. And then this is happening, and then you have players like Guiu, you have players like Estevao, you have players like Tyreek George on the bench. And then one thing that also further annoyed me is that he took out Fofana instead of pushing Acheampong into that backline and probably instructing Reece James to come in and sit into that back three, then asking Gusto to come back to play alongside Caicedo and bring on Estevao because you want a goal. What does Maresca do? Maresca goes ahead and does one of the most ridiculous substitutions. And I just want to talk about that substitution because I want to introduce Mehdi here to also touch on some few things that I have not talked about. So what Maresca does is that he decides to take Neto out of the game. The same time he took Enzo Fernandez. Then instead of doing a like to like and like, if I'm taking Neto, let me bring in Estevao, because Estevao can be super important for Chelsea when Chelsea are actually going up against tired legs. Maresca is the problem of himself. Players playing out of position. Imagine Gusto playing as a number 10. Yeah, that is what Maresca does. So instead of bringing in Estevao and having him 1v1 with a fullback during that time, and probably even bringing on a player like McGew, what does Maresca do? Maresca doesn't do that. He brings in Gusto. Then what happens is that he doesn't bring Estevao. He brings in Garnacho, plays Garnacho down the left, then moves Gittens down the right. Now, the question that I am asking, when has Gittens ever played down the right? When has Gittens ever played down the right? When has Jamie Gittens ever played down the right in his career? So he moves Gittens down the right in a position where Gittens is not good, where Gittens' stronger foot is outside. And it's not like Gittens is that player who's going to get the ball and maybe carry the ball towards the byline and look to whip in across. But again, you're whipping across inside the box. For who? You're whipping across inside the box for João Pedro by himself. Because Cucurella is not even inside the box. He's not a natural attacking player. So he doesn't have the attacking instincts to actually go inside the box and try to win the ball. No, he doesn't do that. So he's bringing in Jamie Gittens. Gittens is super ineffective in this position. And then instead of bringing in, even if he decided to do this and bring in Estevao so that Chelsea can have that much more attacking dynamism, he doesn't do that. He actually brings in Tosin, then pushes Acheampong out, then pushes Reece James in midfield. Then he has Gusto and Cucurella, two defenders in the most advanced attacking positions. So this is what Maresca has. This is how Maresca wants to win this game. He has two defenders who you know very well, even if you hand them the ball, they are, especially Gusto. If you give Gusto the ball here, he's just going to pass the ball backwards. So you have two defenders in these positions, Then you have two defensive midfielders, two defensive-minded midfielders, because Reece James is also a defender. So both of them, these two are defenders, and then you have two defenders. So in all lines, in all attacking lines, in all lines of the pitch, you have defenders here. These are defenders here. These are defenders here. These are defenders here. And then to make it worse, you have only 3 attackers on the pitch. And out of your 3 attackers, you've decided to play one attacker out of position. So you have as many as 7 defenders on the pitch. You have 7 defenders on the pitch. 7. And I'm actually counting them because Caicedo is a defender who plays in midfield. So you have 7 defenders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you're most advanced. You're expecting that Cucurella and Gusto are the ones who are supposed to be in these positions, getting the ball and looking to create. Now, even if you have Gusto in this position, he will just be forced and he plays the ball backwards. Even if he looks to shaft the ball out to Gittens, Gittens being a right-footed player is more likely to look to get to the byline and cross the ball. So that is the situation that Chelsea found themselves in. So I just want to introduce Mehdi to say something because I have probably touched on one thing and then we proceed with the next thing. So hello Mehdi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at some of the stats, to be honest, for expected goals and expected assists. It's not looking good for a lot of our attackers. None of them are really able to create. None of them are really getting in goal scoring positions, except for one player whose XG is actually, I believe, 0.96 every time he's gotten minutes, and that player is Margiu. Surprisingly or not, it's not Pedro, it's not Delap, it's our third striker who's getting the highest XG from this team. Um, for that game, I think, yeah, I did not understand playing 2 fullbacks as 10s. And I think what even confused me more is why Palmer was missing. Because I was like, okay, Palmer got hooked off last game. Surely he's going to start this game, right? Because it's like we said, in this game, you start your strongest 11, you sub them off, and you get a goal. But I think the more you look at this team, the more you can't help but feel that, okay, that was on Maresca, but at the same time, you can't help but feel, realistically, if you're a neutral, if you're not a Chelsea fan, you ask someone, do you see this team winning the Premier League? Answer is probably no. Because a lot of these players are just average. Like Gittens is average, Neto is average, Garnacho is average, Pedro is much better as a link-up player than as a finisher. Delap, average. But that game, yes, is on Maresca. I 100% agree, though.
You see,
What I will, yeah.
yes, just before you proceed with the average, Neto. When I look at his numbers this season, he probably has 8 goals, and it's not even the 19th game of the season. So if he probably replicates around 10 goals in the first leg and probably 7, I think that makes him one of the best wingers in the league when you look at that. But the problem is when Maresca came into Chelsea, he regressed one of Chelsea's best attacking players, and that was Cole Palmer. Under Pochettino, Cole Palmer was hitting 25 goals a season. When Maresca came in, he said he doesn't want the team to rely on Cole Palmer. So even when he brings in Cole Palmer, instead of playing Cole Palmer in his best position, he plays Cole Palmer out of position. And then these are the things that you look at this manager and you're like, you're trying to defend him, but you can't defend him.
Palmer is a lot more effective in the right. You could even see it in the World Cup final against PSG. Both goals came from cutting inside into the bottom left corner. His 20 plus goal season was from that side. But sometimes Maresca persists with him on the left, which just does not work. Neto, I get what you mean, but he's actually overperforming his numbers. The underlying numbers show he's actually been overperforming what he's supposed to do. So realistically, they're not sustainable. The other player who actually has good XG and expected assists is Estevao. He has 0.43, which is the second highest. So if we're going by numbers, our strongest front three is Gu, Estevao, and Garnacho. Gittins and
Yeah,
Neto would miss out.
yeah, that is true. Oh, yeah, Mr. Eye Test. You know, Christian does not like the eye test tells you everything. No GX, XC, or BMI. BMI, Isaac is calculating about the body mass index. It's about the ratio versus the height. Yada, 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 needed. And Christian, you must come in and explain to us this XG thing. So Chelsea can only play one way, and teams have figured them out. Maresca out, bring in Oliver Glasner to rescue the sinking ship. Yeah. It's your yeah. Okay, I do agree, but in my opinion, I've always said that I generally like to make these changes towards the end of the season, if
But my
it's not a
question is,
crisis.
why is there a
Yeah,
December curse for so long? Why is there a December
yeah.
curse for so long with different managers?
You see, another thing is that if there is only one person who can get the team back on track, it's the Maresca guy. Because a new manager has to come, he has to learn them, he has to train them, he has to teach them new things, he has to change them from the way they are playing to another way they were playing. So unless it's a catastrophe where we are losing many games like what happened under Potter, that is when I'm saying, okay, enough is enough. It's time for a change. But if the wheels have not fallen off, then I'm like, oh, let's see till the end of the season. Maybe he can get probably top 3 or top 4. If he gets top 4, maybe he gets a cup. Then you ask yourself, do we want to win the league? Is Maresca the manager to take us to win the league? Sometimes those are the questions that you do ask yourself. You're like, yeah, just like the way Claudio Ranieri made Chelsea to finish in the top 4. But Roman came in and he was like, is Claudio Ranieri the manager who's going to win me the league? No, the manager who's going to win me the league is Jose Mourinho. So you bring Jose Mourinho in. That's just the same thing. So with Maresca, it's all about bringing in stability. This is what he did in his first season. You re-evaluate at the end of the season what he has done, because a lot of fans are crashing out. Because remember the poll that was done. Chelsea fans were the most optimistic fans about this season. A lot of them thought after winning the Club World Cup, they were going to win the league. But I've always said the problem with Chelsea has not always been beating the bigger teams. In fact, if Chelsea get to the Champions League knockout stages, which now is in jeopardy because why is it in jeopardy? Because Maresca's arrogance. This is the thing I always don't like about Maresca. Is that Maresca is so arrogant. He's so arrogant. He's so arrogant. And just what Christian has said is that Maresca, with his crazy rotation, has been our worst enemy this season, because Maresca has not taken the Champions League as a serious competition. Maresca has always taken the Champions League like he's playing in the Conference League. I just want to show you an example of a Champions League game here. Let me just show you about an example of a Champions League game here. And then you ask yourself, what was Maresca thinking? What was Maresca thinking? I just want to show you this screen. So look at this. This is Chelsea versus Karabakh. And remember, this is a game that Chelsea was supposed to win. You agree with me, Mehdi, there?
Definitely.
These were 3 points for Chelsea. These were definitely 3 points for Chelsea. So look at what Maresca does. Look at that lineup. Look at that lineup. He decides to start Hato, to start Tosin, to start Santos, to start Lavia, to start João Pedro, to start Tyreek George, and to start Gittens. He's playing like he's playing in the Conference League. Then look at that bench. Look at that bench. Fernandez is in that bench. Dilap is in that bench. Caicedo is in that bench. Bonanote is in that bench. Garnacho is in that bench. Chaloba is in that bench. Gusto is in that bench. Fofana is in that bench. Josh Achimpong is in that bench. And McGill. And look at who he started as a striker. He started Tyreek George as a striker. So you can see the thing that has been, Maresca has been his own enemy in this team. He has been his own enemy. Because yes?
The more you look at it, the more you realize that, I don't know, whenever he comes out, he says stuff like, oh, we're looking at the teams and we're trying to analyze them. I don't know if he's overthinking it or what, because his system will work well. I think well enough to even break down low blocks. But it's the players and where he chooses to play them where I think the issue goes. Like you can't play Gusto as a 10. Like come on, you can't play Gittins on the right. You can't play George as a striker in a Champions League game when George's best position is as a left wing. Like it's frustrating because you can see the potential in the system, but then it's like the manager is self-sabotaging without even realizing. I don't get why Mark Yu does not get more minutes. He's had the highest XG so far. Every time he's come on the pitch, he's looked like he's trying at least. He gets in positions. You remember he got a goal against Ajax. Okay, sure. There were other times where I remember in the Premier League where we were like, oh, how did you miss those chances? But he's getting in those positions. And something that I
Now,
think Chelsea fans will hate to hear is that Jackson was very effective in this team, and we've lost
yeah.
a key figure.
And also, one thing is that with Jackson, we were also finding ourselves in a position where he's in the right position, his movement is okay, but his finishing is bad. Now we have strikers who their movement is bad, and even when you give them the ball in certain positions, they're missing chances. And probably João Pedro, but João Pedro by himself, when you see his overall body language on the pitch, you're like, you are the
Yeah.
striker. You're the one who's supposed to lead the press. You're the one who's supposed to be hungry. Why do you look tired? It's the first minute of the game and you're walking. Why are you walking on the pitch? What was Maresca thinking playing Cucurella, Badiashile, tossing Achimpong, Gusto, James, and Caicedo all at the same time? These are the kind of things. And you see, one thing that I always say is that it was even better for Thomas Tuchel when he played 5 defenders because 2 of his defenders were attacking wing backs. Rhys James and Chilwell were attacking players. But here you have a situation where a manager is even playing Josh. I'm not saying that Josh is a bad player, but I don't even want to look at the Atalanta game. I just want to look at this game. This is the Karabakh game. Look at the players on the bench, and then when he messes up, what does he do? He brings in Enzo, he brings in Dilap, he brings in Caicedo, he brings in Bonanote, he brings in Garnacho. So he always waits for the opposition team to score and then sit in a structured manner. Then you bring in your attacking players. Why don't you bring in your attacking players earlier on into the game, win the game, then you can now be the one making defensive substitutions? You see, a lot of people are talking about him being a novice and are talking about his lack of experience. And he's constantly showing why a lot of fans are like, is this the manager to take us forward? Because you cannot take this Champions League game like a conference league game. This is a Champions League game. Why are you playing Hato and Tosin? Yet you have Chaloba here and Josh. This game he should
Even
have played
that
Josh
game
and yeah. If
when
he
Fofana
started
gets injured, you don't need to bring on Tosin. You can just move Ashimpong to centre back and bring Gusto on.
And what annoys me about Maresca is that somebody said something quite interesting about Maresca. He has his favorite players. He
Yes.
has his favorite players. In that, if his favorite players make a mistake, they always get an opportunity back. But the players that he does not favor, if they make a mistake, he uses that as an excuse to banish them. Like, what did Facundo do? We've never seen him play. When
When I
Josh
not
puts up yeah, when Josh puts in a performance, look at Josh. When he wanted a defender to step up in that Crystal Palace game, it was Josh who stepped up and took care of Mateta. So why don't you start Josh as a centre back? Even in this game, if he played Josh and Chaloba, we win this game. So we probably have had 3 points. In the last game, look at this scenario here. In the last game, this is how Chelsea ended the game. Imagine, this is the way Chelsea ended the game. You have Gusto, you have Cucurella as your most attacking players. Even if it was a must for you as a manager, why don't you just take Tosin off, have Achimpong play there, have Rhys James play there, if that is your structure, which I do believe is a good structure. Then have Caicedo even and Cucurella playing here, if you're looking to have both of them in this position. Or even if you don't want Caicedo, you can still have Cucurella playing back, have Caicedo and Reece James come in midfield, have Achiengpong and Benoit in this position, like that position, take out Gusto, then have Estevao, probably because you're playing him on the right, have Estevao there. Then you can now bring in who do you
Pam,
want?
Buonanotte, if he was
Yeah,
there.
he was there, he was on the bench. So you probably bring in Facundo. Don't even know his number. Which number does he wear?
Let me check.
Let's just put in 40. So
Okay.
you bring in Facundo, even if you have to push Facundo here, then you can bring in McGew. You can bring in
Wow.
McGew, and then you can have João Pedro in that position. Then you can have João Pedro linking up with Estevao, and then you can have Facundo, and then you can have João Pedro. Even if you had to increase an extra player, you can push now Cucurella to push forward. And if he ended the game in this structure, people will be like, you made the right decisions. You have the attacking players on the pitch. And if you have these players on the pitch, you never know. If you have all these players on the pitch, because majority of them are attacking players, you never know. They might do something. They might do something. But what does
You
he
ever
do?
feel like Maresca is too scared to go and finish games off? Sometimes you see a reliability, like in the game. Which game did he play? Chalobah right back. I believe it was Bournemouth. No, I don't remember. I think it was Leeds,
Leeds,
where he
yeah,
said we
Leeds.
needed three tall players to compensate for Leeds. But I'm like, you understand we're going to have most of the ball. Probably going to be the team that's attacking. Why should we be the ones focusing on them? You see, this type of mentality works in big games, but like in these games like this, even against Atalanta, right? I think he mentioned something in the press conference about that all Italian teams now play with wing backs. And I think his structure was also to compensate for that. I think in trying to like caution attacks of teams, he really throws the entire balance of the system out the window. What do you think?
You see, the thing with Maresca is that he does things that even Guardiola didn't overthink. Like, not in a day will you find Guardiola overthinking to a point where he's having two fullbacks as his most advanced attacking players. I don't think Guardiola would even think about that. Number two, if you want to make the opposition's wingbacks ineffective in a game, what you do is you put more attacking players. You always put in wingers who are constantly in that position where if these two wingbacks decide to push forward and you win the ball, then you have wingers in positions who can hurt them. And because if these wingers are in these positions where they can hurt them, it will make these wingbacks stay behind. That is what you do. The best form of attack is defense. So if you have two deadly wingers ahead, your wingbacks, these wingbacks are not going to be adventurous. And then, therefore, now you can have many players into that position. You can now have even players like Reece James looking to push forward. You can even have players like Cucurella looking to push forward. And if you have two centre backs who are good, who can do the job, that is, if you have both Chalobah and Fofana, who are very agile and who can do the job, then what do
Tyron, we
you
have to
notice?
say one thing though. Like Fofana has been responsible for two goals so far. The game against Arsenal, he lost Marino, and the game against Atalanta, he lost Scamacca. Both times it was
Yeah,
the same type of cross that's on
yeah,
him.
yeah, 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 yeah. Those two games, yeah. I'm also going to talk about him because even him, if he's being lauded as Chelsea's, you see, the reason why we're even saying that Fofana is our best centre back is because of the quality of defenders that we have.
I agree. I agree.
It's not
They're all
like it's not like
horrible.
it's not it's not like Fofana is that such a great centre back that is winning you the league. No, he's decent. Out of what we have, he is the most decent one because
And Ashenpong.
Disasi is in there and Josh. In fact, Josh could have stopped that, but Josh was focusing on Lookman because you can never, as a defender, you cannot always assume when a ball is being crossed that you can assume that the striker is not getting there. You can never assume that. And he's made those errors. You can never assume that a striker is not getting there. But what did he do? Even if you play like this and you have Caicedo dropping deep into this position to help build up, and then you have Cucurella and Rhys James occupying this position, you already have your rest defense, because you probably want a rest defense of 5 players against 4. You already have your rest defense there. Then now you can have two of your most attacking players into the team, Facundo and McGew. That's what you can do. That is probably what you do as a manager.
And Joao
But
Pedro does not look good as a nine. He just looks good when he drops and links up. Even then,
yeah,
his ball
so
control is awful.
yeah, so even if you have him here, he can now look to drop with the ball, get the ball, look to play the ball to Cucurella, and then you can have Garnacho making these inside runs. And you see, those are the kinds of patterns that you do. And then also to make this to further emphasize how arrogant Maresca is, because at this level I am thinking about him like he's super arrogant. This is a manager who's super arrogant. He was like, I will not need Cole Palmer in this game. I will not even give him an opportunity to come off the bench. No, let me just let him stay. That is how arrogant he was, so confident that this team that I have is enough to go and win against Atalanta. No, that's not what you do. You get Cole Palmer in the play. Even if your main aim is to ensure that he doesn't walk into the pitch. But at a time like this, when the game is ending, you bring him on. You say, okay, Fofana is out. Cole Palmer, come in. Let's try to go
Tyrone,
for this game.
I don't know if he's arrogant or if he's not arrogant enough. Because when you play 7 defenders, that doesn't scream arrogance, that screams fear. I think he's too cautious, and that's costing him. I don't think he's underestimating these teams. I think he's underestimating us too much. There's no need to have all these defenders. There's no need to have Chalobah right back against Leeds. It's games like this where I feel like Maresca is being timid. Don't you think so?
In my opinion, I think he's overthinking a lot. He's overthinking a lot, a lot, a lot. I expect a manager to overthink like that if he's facing probably Arsenal, Manchester City, Manchester. You're going away to Manchester United. You're facing Liverpool. You're playing Bayern. That is when I expect you to do that. But all you see, what happened? What did Pep Guardiola used to do? Pep Guardiola used to have a standard template for all the other teams. David Silva down the left, De Bruyne down the right, And you see one thing about Guardiola, he was not afraid to play Sane and David Silva down the left. Yet he knew very well Sane was left-footed, David Silva was left-footed. He was not afraid to play Sterling and De Bruyne down the right, knowing very well that Sterling is right-footed and De Bruyne is right-footed. He wasn't afraid
And by
because
the way,
he
that's
played.
almost 5 attackers leaving your midfield light. And we have someone like Caicedo who can eat ground. You're allowed to have those many attackers on the pitch. Because I'd argue Caicedo is even better than Fernandinho and Rodri.
Yeah, Caicedo is able to cover that ground. Caicedo is even if you play him here and he looks to sit and he looks to be the one dictating the game from here, and then you flood this attack. You flood this attack with so many players. You even push Cucurella here. You ask Cucurella move in that position. Let Rhys James stay here by himself. Even if Rhys James is the one who's pushing back, as we kept on seeing him during the game, you have Rhys James dropping into that back line. Then you have Joao Pedro, Facundo, and Cucurella in this position. And then you have Garnacho. Then you're constantly disorienting the opposition. You're constantly having players moving in, moving out. When they come in narrow and they drag in players, then you can now have Estevao getting this ball in this position, dragging in a player. Once he drags a player, Facundo is already making this run, ensuring that this center back does not follow him. Estevao is able to beat his man, is able to carry the ball. These are the attacking patterns. Maresca is overthinking a lot. He's complicating the game. It is Maresca who's going to tell you that. Let me just give you this a quick example here. It is Maresca who's going to tell you that if you ask him, Maresca, how about what is your lineup on Saturday? Instead of just going like this and probably picking this lineup and be like, okay, let me pick this lineup and let me just do a random selection. This is a lineup. let me even just say McGew has not been picked. So you have Joao Pedro, and then you have Palma. Then you probably have Estevao and Ganacho. I think this is a strong lineup. I think this is a strong lineup. Then this team is looking to play with a back five. I just want to give you an example so that you can understand why Maresca sometimes even annoys me a lot. So this team is playing with a back five like that. Maybe it's even looking to play with, and they are now seeing Leeds used a 3-5-2. They beat Chelsea. Atalanta used a 3-5-2. They caused problems for Chelsea. You see that kind of thing. So in this scenario, now you have Ganacho, you have Estevao in these positions. What Maresca is going to do, this is why I always tell you that Maresca overthinks a lot. He likes to play football on paper than on the ground. He knows very well that if you put Palma in this position, Maresca, everybody knows very well that if you have Palma in this position, if you have Palma receiving the ball in this position, you're having him in one of his most dangerous positions. If you have Palma collecting the ball here, then he's in a position where he can attempt shots. He's in a position where he can slip in an attacker who's making a run. He can slip him there. If you
He
have
can
Palma in
shoot.
this, he's in a position to link up with the striker, then receive a flick on ball and shoot. But what will Maresca do? Maresca will look and see that he will look and see Estevao is left-footed, Ganacho is right-footed. So I'm going to push Palma here, and then I'm going to put Fernandez here. That is how Maresca is going to do it. And it annoys me. It annoys me. You know the way you know very well that this player plays well in this position. So what he's going to do is that he's going to push Palma here and then push Enzo here. Now, when he pushes Enzo here, Enzo is only left to two things. Is either he's playing the ball wide or he's looking to cross. And knowing Enzo's shooting, he's unable to shoot. The same thing happens when he plays Palma here. Palma is reduced to three things: playing the ball to the half space, hoping that the winger is going to receive a run and cut back, or if he's in this position, he will hope to try and shoot from that position. And when he shoots from that position, it's easier for the goalkeepers to defend. And we saw that
Yeah.
against Bournemouth. You see, we saw that against Bournemouth. But if he decides to push Enzo here and he has Palma here, yes, it might look like Ganacho is right-footed and Enzo is right-footed. It cannot work. But it works. On the pitch, it works. That is the thing. On paper, it might look like it doesn't work. But on the pitch, it works. It works. When you have you seen the way Enzo plays in this position? He's so
Oh,
good
he's
that
different gravy. Yeah.
to a point whereby if Joao Pedro picks the ball in this position, then Enzo is that player who's constantly making that run and is constantly heading the ball into the far post when he starts here. This is where we have seen Enzo doing all the magic. When
Even
he's
against
making
Wolves, I
head
believe he
runs,
played there.
he's constantly making runs here. He's constantly dominating here. Even when you play the ball to him, he will hold off this defender and then he will flick the ball to Garnacho because he's super physical. That is what Enzo does. That is what Enzo does in that position. And even if you give Enzo, and if you now put Palma and Estevao here, it's constantly chopping and changing. Palma gets the ball, he drags in a defender, Estevao makes a run, Rhys James comes, Palma plays the ball back to Rhys James, Estevao comes in field, Palma comes out, Palma looks to receive the ball here, Palma can look to carry the ball here. If Palma receives this ball, Estevao is making a run, he plays the ball to Estevao, Joao Pedro makes this run, Palma comes here, receives a cutback, scores. They know how to play with each other. Why don't you allow them to play with each other?
I don't know. But how long do you think Maresca is going to be able to see his mistakes anytime soon?
No, he's arrogant. That is the thing. He's arrogant. He plays these things in his mind. He expects them to work. I've always said, this is the perfect example that I said. I said that Fofana and Chaloba, both of them are right-footed players. But Chaloba, if he plays in that left-footed centre-back role with Chaloba, they keep a clean sheet. They play well. So even if you decide to play them like this, Cucurella, Chaloba, Fofana, and Rhys James, and Caicedo in that midfield, and then you have Estevao down the right, you have Palma down the left, you have Enzo down the left, Ganacho down the left, and then you have, let's even start McGew. Where's Gew?
He's there up
Where is
30.
Yeah, yeah. Let's have McGew there. McGill is constantly making these runs. So he's
My
constantly
God.
pulling defenders behind. Then now you're having Enzo and Palma picking positions where they're looking to influence. All you have to do is just to instruct Ganacho and Estevao to maintain their width. And even when Palma and Ganacho would like and Estevao can switch, Estevao can still come and receive the ball, and Palma can still receive the ball out wide. Because I know both of them they have high football IQ. Christian calls it high football IQ. They are able to know how to rotate. But you see, having this combination of Estevao and Palma is one thing that Maresca cannot give the fan base. He cannot. We only saw it once during preseason. It's not something that he's confident on doing because according to him, if Estevao is left-footed, then let me switch up these players. That is what Maresca wants.
Oh man! And you know
Or
this system with Marquinhos running in behind. Unpopular opinion. I genuinely think in a system like this, Marquinhos becomes a goal machine. I genuinely believe that.
McGill becomes a goal machine. If you put Palma here and you put Enzo here, it doesn't matter. I saw Palma playing quite well with Noni Madueke, and Madueke was right-footed. Remember the game where Palma gave 3 assists to Madueke against Wolves?
Yeah, damn. Yeah, actually, that's a big point.
What happened?
5 goals that game. That's the frustrating part with the manager as well, because sometimes you'll even see him move Neto to the left and leave Enzo there, because it's more balance.
Yeah, because that is what he actually wants to do. Just play players in their natural position. Just play them. Don't sit down and talk like, no, I have Estevao here and Palma. It's going to be predictable. Both of them are left. No. Where does Palma play well when he is scoring goals? He plays here. This is where Palma plays. This is where Palma moves. This is where Palma, if the ball is deeper, this is where Palma is going to come out, receive the ball, get the ball, take on a player, beat the player, run with the ball, carry the ball forward. If he's going to see Gil making a run, he's going to spot Gil making a run. He's going to spot Enzo making a run. Then he's going to see Ganacho in the far post. Then he's going to cross the ball to Ganacho. Then once everybody falls forward and drags the defenders out, Palma is going to come here, receive a cutback, score.
And
Just
then you'll have
allow them to
Cucurella
be
running in the
free.
middle.
Yeah, sometimes Cucurella can be coming here. Cucurella can be coming here in these positions here. Allow these players to have that freedom. I don't know why managers like to create problems for themselves. You see, this thing that you see, have you noticed that Pep has even adapted his game?
Yeah, they go a lot more longer nowadays.
Even despite going long, nowadays you'll see that the two most wide players for Manchester City are the fullbacks. So you're going to have the fullbacks being the ones who are wide. Then what is going to happen is that he's going to flood the midfield like this. He's probably going to flood the midfield like this with the
Doku.
probably Reinders and Gonzalez, and then he's going to have Foden here. Then he's going to have Doku and Haaland and Cherki playing in that position. So you're going to find Manchester City in a situation where they have as many as 6 players in midfield. 6. They have 6 players in midfield. And the most advanced and the widest player in that setup are the fullbacks. The fullbacks are the ones who are the widest. And these players know very well how to move. They know when to go out. They know when to receive the ball. So you have to adapt. And I've always said, it doesn't matter. You see, this is one thing I kept on telling a lot of people when Manchester City were at their prime. I kept on saying, it doesn't matter if you know what De Bruyne is going to do. It doesn't matter if you know that that Sterling is going to stand here, drag a fullback out, and De Bruyne is going to make that run. It doesn't matter. You can even know that is what De Bruyne is going to do. But because of the
You can't stop
quality of
him.
the players, you can't stop them. Even Chelsea, you can know very well that I as a fan know that Palmer is deadly when he plays in this position, when he's free in this position. Even in that Bournemouth game, when he was being played here, you could see him sometimes coming to this position. Allow him. Allow him to come into that position. He's not good playing here. What do I know? I know Enzo is so good playing here. So I tell Enzo, you play here. Palma, you play here. Ganacho, you play here. Estevao, you play here. And see. You see, that is the thing that the fans are going to. The fans will be off your back because the fans will be like, I would also do it. So it's probably the players not performing.
How do you
That is what the
think we're gonna start on the weekend? Because I think Gusto is gonna get minutes, you know.
I
I
really
think
don't know. I really don't know. He's going to play Palma down the left. He's going to now play Estevao. He's now going to throw Estevao in so that Estevao can. This is the thing. This is the thing that I'm reaching a point where I'm reaching that point where Christian and Isaac are, where you can't help this man. What he's going to do is that he will even decide to start Estevao and Palma in that game. But what is he going to do? He's going to push Palma here. He's going to push Estevao here, Enzo here.
do you
And
think
then
Enzo will
now,
start again? Actually, yeah,
he
I
might
think he
start.
will.
He took him off. So he's going to
Uh,
do that. He's going to have Estevao here. He's going to put Palma here. Then he's not going to play Garnacho. He's going to play Neto down the left. Now, what he has done is he has given you all the players that you wanted. But do you know what the problem is? He has now played them out of position. And when you play them out of position, it beats even the logic of starting them. Because Neto is good playing from the right. Now he is going to play him from the left. Then he's going to play Palma down the left. Then he's going to play Estevao down the right. Not Estevao, Enzo down the right. And what is
I
it going to
think.
happen? It's going to kill our attack.
Do you think so? Do you think he'll play Palmer left-footed and Neto left-footed in the same area?
Yeah, he might choose it because he wants to play Enzo and Estevao because you know what Maresca does? He likes to sabotage everything. You see, yesterday he came out and said that we had already scored our goals. We conceded 2 silly goals. So you traveled with that team all the way from London to go and score 1 goal against Atlanta. You know very well that you cannot rely on you know very well you cannot rely on your defense. You see, if Thomas Tuchel said that we had scored 1 goal, then I would be like, okay, we have a good defense, and at Thomas Tuchel, our defense has been our strongest part. But here is a manager whose defense has not been good. How do you go to rely upon a defense that has not been good?
Lord Moyes United 3, Chelsea 1. Oh man. I pray to God he puts the lineup out that you mentioned, but I really doubt it. I really don't think Hugh is gonna start. I think it's gonna be João Pedro up front again. And can we just talk about João Pedro? What has happened to him? He looks so bad. Like he does not look like the player that we saw in preseason at the Club World Cup. He's not getting in the box. His XG isn't high. The ball seems to bounce off him every time. The lap has just been a mess. Like, I don't get it. And I really don't think James is going to start, you know? I think Gusto will be right back because James played the full 90. I do not see him starting again.
Then the question
And,
is, Caicedo is not playing. Caicedo is not playing. So if
oh,
Caicedo
yeah.
is not on the team, so why are you benching Rhys James for what? Play Rhys James so that he can get injured. You see, this is the thing that I hate about this guy. He's always thinking about the next game. Like, you have 3 games. You have 3 games. You're thinking about game number 2 and game number 3. So you decide to go weak in game number 1 because you think that this game week number 1, you can be able to get away with it. So you lose game week number 1, you lose number 2, you lose number 3. Win number one, win the one that you're able to win. You see, this is one thing that really annoys for Maresca. You see, what has Mikel Arteta done? Arteta has gone strong in all games. He has had injuries, but he has gone strong. That's why he's where he is. If he went strong against Brentford, he wins that game. If he went strong against Karabakh, he wins that game. If he went strong yesterday, he wins that game. You go if he went strong against Leeds, he wins that game. Even if he had to make rotations, he didn't have to make all those rotations. He didn't have to bench Rhys James. Even he benched Rhys James. He should have played Santos. He should have even played Santos and somebody else. Like
Caicedo.
Caicedo was sent off, so he couldn't play.
Oh yeah.
So he should go strong. He should be like, I want to win this game, win this game, win this game, win this game. Always go with an attempt to win the game in the first 60 minutes. Score 2 goals, score 3 goals in the first 60 minutes. Rest players now. Take them out, take them out, take them out. That is what you do.
And
But
pick your
what does
best
he do?
11.
You can. How do you want to win 1-0 and you're playing Gusto as a number 10? You see, this is something that even says Fabregas said. Fabregas said this, that he tried this thing of towards the end of the game, bringing in on defenders. And once he brought in defenders, what happened? What happened when he brought in defenders?
They lost control.
They lost control. The opposition knew that he had been contained and he's not going to attack. The opposition now get emboldened. They attack. But when it is the 60th minute, you're taking off Rhys James. You're taking off Rhys James from midfield. You're bringing in Facundo. You're taking off Enzo. You're bringing in Estevao. What does that tell the opponent? You are going to go for more goals. Win that game 4-3 or win that game 4-2.
Oh, Tyrone, look at Christian's comments. It's interesting.
Arteta has won only 2 out of the last 5 games. He drew with Chelsea. Which other game? Before Chelsea, he had won.
He lost to Villa. He lost to Sunderland.
No, he didn't lose to Sunderland. He drew. Before Chelsea, he had won 2 games.
No,
He won the
they lost to
he won.
Sunderland.
No, they didn't lose. It ended 2-2. They didn't lose. They have lost only 2 games. They lost against Liverpool and lost against Villa. Before, I want to correct Christian. Before the game against Chelsea, they had won a game. I remember we had 3 tough fixtures. We had Burnley, then Barcelona, then Arsenal. Arsenal also had a stronger team, then Bayern Munich, then Chelsea. So Arsenal won 2, they drew 1.
In the last 5 games, Arsenal have won 3 and lost, and drawn 1 and lost 1.
Yeah. So Isaac is Christian is giving a false statistic there. And also look at Arsenal. How did they lose that game? They lost both of their centre backs. They lost Saliba. They lost Gabriel. So again, I have to say this. If Maresca is so obsessed about protecting his starting 11, then it means one thing, that his backups are not good enough. That is what it means. They're not good enough. So who created that? Yeah, they're not good enough. So if a manager is like, I can't lose this player because it might jeopardize my team, then you have to blame the sporting directors. Like, you can't be signing 16-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. Then you're putting a manager in a position where he doesn't have reliable backups. Whenever Tosin is there, ready to enter the pitch, every Chelsea fan is like, oh, this game is over. Because everybody knows that he's crap. Everybody knows that he's crap. Gusto, when you're seeing that you're trying to win a goal, you're leaving all your attacking players, you're playing Gusto as a number 10. This coach will kill Hato's career because of his poor game planning. He can go strong early. He will develop. Yeah. He can. You see, players like Hato need to come on when you have already won the game, so that they play with less pressure. Even players like Estevao, so that you give them less pressure in the team. Arsenal have only lost against Villa. Others are no. Arsenal lost away at Anfield. They lost. They lost to Liverpool. Go and check the result. Christian, how are you?
You know me, football cannot depress me. So,
I
Christian,
told
Christian
you
has
he
not.
would say that.
He does.
you know, I say, I fucking
He doesn't.
life,
He
life
does.
is too
He,
short.
he doesn't want XG. He doesn't want BMI. He doesn't want BX. He doesn't
Yeah,
want
I have
anything.
no idea.
He
When I
wants
look, when he
tests. He
when
wants,
he speaks, my head spins. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? This guy is fucking. You guys, both of you, sound like professors. And said nobody has a clue what you go talking about. And I said, since when? Who made up all these numbers and whatever happened to the art of just playing? No, you, Mister. Let me calm down, Mister Tyrone.
yeah.
You have been listening to you very, very intensely the last 15 minutes. So basically, what you've been explaining is just go back to playing football like how it used to be played. Stop all this XG, stop all this swapping players left, right, or whatever. Just go back and play football. Honest, decent football. This is what you are saying. And I thought to myself, hallelujah. The guy came alive. Finally, he's got my way of thinking.
Sometimes you're like, sometimes you ask yourself, as a manager, you don't try to fix something that ain't broken. You ask yourself, where does Palmer play well? If I put Palmer on the left, I am making him to be a cross merchant and only playing the ball to the left winger. But if I put Palmer down the right, I'm getting goals, I'm getting assists, I'm getting chance creation. So what should I do? I play Palmer down the right. Where do I get the best out of Enzo? If I start him down the left, he's constantly ghosting that far post. Look at the way Enzo was so good earlier on this season. Whenever Neto will just look and cross the ball, he knew that Enzo was making that run. He knew it. Look at the goals Enzo has scored. He's always in that far post area. And even when you are looking to cross the ball, he's the one entering the box late to probably score a cutback. So
Should I
why
give
are you?
you some stats by under
I give Christian those stats.
Yeah, I'm
Give me,
listening.
give
by
me.
by expected goal difference? Chelsea are fifth. Fourth is Liverpool. Third is Palace. Fourth is sixth is Chelsea. Fifth is Liverpool. Fourth Palace. Third is United. Second is City. First is Arsenal. Aston Villa are all the way in 19, 18, 16, 15, 14. They're like 14/13th, but they find themselves third on the table. So they've been massively overperforming their numbers. So have Tottenham because they're like 16th best or 15th best. Sunderland are 17th best. Everton as well been overperforming. They're 7th, but their numbers suggest that they should be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12th best. So I don't know. The way numbers work is teams usually come back to where they are actually supposed to be. But for us to be 6th is, I don't know. Also, that should be taken with context because we had red cards this season. Yeah, it's just not looking good, guys. That's all I'll say.
Can I ask a question about that?
Sure.
So, since you're digging up stats and since you're the professor, can you please dig up some stats about Pedro João? I'll be interested to hear his last 5 games, his stats.
Oh, yeah. Not just, okay, with João Pedro, I did take a look at his stats, but not just his last 5 games. Like, let's look at it with more detail. He is good in some metrics, very poor in metrics where you'd expect a striker to be good. So, his XG is disgustingly low, like 0.25, which is in the bottom, like 13%. He's taking 1.66 shots a game, which is the bottom 4%. Where
Maybe
his numbers are really high.
The stats?
Okay. Actually, wait. I don't know how.
What
Oh,
about
you can click this TV icon. Click the TV icon.
what about passes completed, tackles won, run backs, that kind those general stats.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm coming to them. So, okay, look, assist wise, he's high, 0.199. Expected assists is high, top 89%. Passes completed high, pass completion okay. Progressive carries very high, 3.54. Progressive passes very high. So he's in the top 93% for progressive passes and progressive carries. He's in the top 84% for take-ons. So when you look at, and even his defensive numbers, weirdly, they're okay. Like they're not nothing special, but they're okay. His interceptions are slightly higher. So when you look at João Pedro's profile, this is not a striker. This is a player who can get you up the field and maybe play a forward pass or maybe create one or two chances.
So okay,
Like,
can I have another question?
sure, sure.
So now those numbers you've just given to me, they sound unbelievable. Now, could it be?
They're not unbelievable.
Yeah, but they sound okay. They sound like it's an honest day's work kind of thing. So
Yeah.
if can it be? Am I deluded in thinking the manager Maresca is gone into
Mhm.
his computer AI, Google AI, whatever, Grok or whatever the fuck they call it, and so who's based on numbers? Pick me the best team based on just numbers. Your own stats.
You want me to give you
Now,
the list?
but if you look,
He went,
but if
he
you
went
look at the
to
stats, the stats say
ChatGPT.
one thing, but the eye test tells you something completely different.
No, but you see, I will say this. Whenever you see João Pedro as a striker, he does lack. When you see him a bit deeper, he seems a bit more okayish. Now, I think the constant chopping and changing of his position is kind of confusing him. Because even when João Pedro is playing as the number 9, you see him dropping quite a lot. At the end of the day,
But
when you want to cross the ball in the middle, there's no one there. But he
let
has
me
been
say
bad, in my opinion. He has been bad.
let me let me say Mehdi one thing. João Pedro was signed to be a striker. So he either has to adapt his game to play as a false nine, if he like Bobby Firmino, and bring on other players into the team. But for the output that João Pedro is generating for us in that number 10, Cole Palmer is back. And we know very well that if we put Cole Palmer there and we give Cole Palmer the positional freedom, he's going to give
Mhm.
us close to 20 goals and he's going to give us close to 15 assists. So we
You guys
cannot be
want to
here
know?
saying, just a minute, I will give you the opportunity. So if Palmer can give us close to 20 goals, he can give us close to 15 assists in a season. Why should we have to sacrifice Cole Palmer so that we can fit João Pedro into the squad? It is João Pedro's job now to adapt because the owner of that position that he plays is back.
But I think that's misprofiling on the board's part. Because when you look, this is a profile not just necessarily this season, it's been over like a period of time, right? So I think over 365 days, if you scroll down and
Yes,
The sound is gone.
you
Can't hear him.
oh,
yeah,
I think
Ah, there you are. Now I can hear something.
yeah. So I was saying, Mark, you won't find his XG on this, but he does have the highest. He has 0.96 XG. Now compare that to what you see with Pedro on the screen, 0.25. Okay, we have to take the into account that Mark Yu has played less games, so obviously his XG numbers are going to be higher. But regardless, I do think he will have higher numbers. So I think João Pedro and Palmer are like backups for each other. I think on the right is Estevao and Neto, and on the left is Gittins and Garnacho. By numbers, our best front three, not front four, front three is Garnacho. By if you want goals, Garnacho, Gu, and Estevao. Those
just
are
a
our
minute,
best.
just a minute, just a minute, Mekdi. I want to debate on that. You see why sometimes I tend to agree with Christian with regards to stats, because stats are usually very distorted, because
Misleading.
the reason why Gius XG is higher is because he has played fewer games, and in the games it's like
Yeah.
if you have two strikers, one striker has played 10 games and he has scored 4 goals, and one striker has played 2 games and he has scored 1 goal, the striker who has played 2 games and scored 1 goal has an XG of 0.50. The one who has
No,
played
I
10
know that.
games
That's why.
has played.
That's why I said it.
Yeah,
I said it.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
thing is, like,
So
he
you
has
cannot say
individual
that.
games. If you go see, no, if you go see individual games, so the limited minutes he's had, he does get in those positions, right? And secondly, what we will also notice is another player who's had limited minutes is Delap, but Delap isn't getting the XG that Gu is getting. So I'm not saying that Gu is necessarily gonna be like, I know I said he'd be a goal machine, but only in that system. With this whatever system Maresca's putting, he will probably do better than Delap. And I think Pedro's had enough time to be run out of that striker position. So that's my argument, that at this point, your best chance of getting a goal is probably with him. You get me? Not that he's...
But even he is falling off a cliff. If you notice, Pedro, the original one, the Portuguese one, he seems to be going
Neto.
downhill pretty quick. Yeah, Neto. Because I don't know what's
Neto.
happened. The system change is suddenly is affecting his game.
This is a very good question. These are kind of question. This is a high IQ question. This is how Christian would refer to that.
Oh
High
my
IQ
God.
question.
Do you
I
guys
have
look
this
at
picture.
Pedro Neto's FB rev? What the hell? It is disgusting. These numbers are
Yeah,
so bad.
yeah. His attacking output numbers are pathetic. But just you can just go through it. But first of all, I want to tackle this
But go
high
back.
IQ
Can
question.
I ask you something, Mr. Tyrone? So
Yeah.
if you saw that game, Neto, before Cole Palmer came back, he was lighting it up. He was the main man. The moment Cole Palmer came back, he's suddenly that first game there, he looked terrible, and he's not being himself since.
But you see, also I've said that now who was his partner? He was actually being played with Gusto, and you know very well Gusto. Gusto will only make a safe pass. He will not make an ambitious pass. So even when Neto is looking to make that run in behind, Gusto is going to see Neto make that run, but he's going to pass the ball back to Chaloba. So sometimes you can't even blame your attacking player. But I wanted to answer this question here. Here, this person has asked that Chelsea the only team that is playing every 2 days? This is what the coach is always complaining about. Do other Premier League teams play after 10 days? That's a very good question, because Aston Villa are also playing 2 games. Newcastle are playing 2 games. Manchester City are playing 2 games. Liverpool, Arsenal. Why is Maresca the only one complaining, yet he has not been riddled with injuries as some of these other teams?
Tottenham, they play on Thursdays, don't they? Tottenham? No, they're the Champions League.
They play in the Champions League.
Who plays on
And
Thursdays?
I don't even...
Forest, Nottingham Forest, yeah.
Forest and Aston Villa.
Crystal Palace as well.
So
Yeah.
Aston Villa plays on Thursday, and then they play on Sunday, and they wow.
Imagine, look at that. And even when Mehdi is talking about Aston Villa with its XG and Aston Villa are there because they are not just relying on creating chances. Unai Emery is telling his attackers, whenever you get the ball at the edge of the box, test the goalkeeper, don't walk the ball into the back of the net. When are we going to see midfielders like Frank Lampard getting the ball halfway line and looking to just have a fast time shot? You see, this thing of Pep Guardiola, tiki-taka, positional play, oh, move here, play here, oh, get the ball, do this, do that, is what is killing the game. And even Pep has realized that I cannot win the league like this. Pep is adapting. He's like, Haaland, do it. Foden, do it. Doku, do it. I'm giving you freedom. Pep Guardiola is now lessening, is losing himself up. He's now looking like Carlo Ancelotti. That's why even when they won 5-4, that is a result that would make Guardiola mad. But he was like, I was scared, but at least we won. So I don't understand about this Maresca's cautiousness, looking to try and overly control the game. And it's really killing our attackers. These are stats of Cole Palmer. Just look at Cole Palmer stats. These are Cole Palmer stats. Look at his XG. Look at his shots. This is a guy who attempts close to 4 shots per 90. In one game, Palmer averages 4 shots. And they are very strong shots.
3.4.
Even
Not in his last
Yeah.
game. They were fucking shit.
But Palmer has not played well. Has not been playing this season. Even the first game, he didn't play. I don't want to judge
came
Palmer
back.
because he's.
I'm just
But
saying he will need 5-6 games before he comes back into working temperature.
Yeah, but if the manager chooses to play him where he plays well, you don't take Palmer and you stick him down the left like what he did against Bournemouth. And then when Palmer is ineffective in that position, he's taking him off. Actually, in that Bournemouth game, when Palmer now was starting to get the hang of the game, he was now attempting shots. He was now picking up spaces. Maresca chooses to sub him off. That's why
you don't know if Palmer if he had a reoccurrence of his injury or he felt something. You don't know that. This is why maybe Maresca took him off.
But then why not play Bonanote? Why not play Pedro there? You have players who can play there.
And what did Tyreek George do? What did Tyreek George do?
Exactly. Tyreek George has been good. He's done the job. Even when he's asked to play out of position, he still contributed to the team.
And Tyreek George, he has that. You know, you look at that guy. He looks like a quiet young man, but he has that suddenly explosion of energy, anger, what have you. And I love that. And you think, what is this the same guy? Where did this energy? Where did this attitude, this will to win come from? So he's got that in him, and maybe a good manager would actually sort of like tap into that, make him show that more often, that will, that fight, that anger. Because he's got the skill, he's got the talent, but sometimes it's just a little bit docile. It's almost like I'm only just the junior in this team here. I mustn't show myself too much because we have all the senior players. I'm trying. Let me just hide or something. No, go there with your shoulders high, head up, chin up, be the man. You know, grab the game by the scruff of the neck. So you know what? I'm here. And like it or not, I'm here. Remember that name, Tyreek George. Go there, have that winning mentality, and you become somebody. And but don't go there. I'm going to be Mickey Mouse. I'm going to sort of.
Let me just say one thing. Let me just add something to what Christian has said. Sorry, Mekdi, for interrupting you. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, if probably Maresca was managing Chelsea that season when Pochettino was managing Chelsea, I don't think Cole Palmer would have been what he is today. I don't think. Because it was Pochettino. One thing about Mauricio Pochettino that I have to give him, I even saw what Jackson posted when he was sacked. This was the manager who got the best out of Jackson and Palmer. Yeah. This was the manager who believed that Palmer, he saw Palmer in training and he was like, that Burnley penalty, you take that penalty. And Palmer took his first penalty in that game. And even when Palmer came on, there was a game where he subbed Conor Gallagher out and he brought in Cole Palmer. And the minute he did that, he elevated Palmer's confidence. He improved Palmer. He made Palmer... He allowed Palmer to be free. He was like, you're a young boy, you enjoy this football, you're playing well, you're scoring goals. He was like, you, Palmer, go and enjoy yourself on the pitch. Where do you want to play? He started playing him on the right. And then he saw that, no, there's no need of playing him on the right. Let me just stick Noni on the right. Let me give Palmer that number 10. Let me allow Palmer to be free. And look at what Palmer became. That season, Palmer scored, I think, was it 24 goals? And he had close to around 12 assists. The best season that Palmer has had.
Let me ask you a question. So two questions in one. So like I was describing Tyreek George there with that killer instinct, that will, that attitude to win. So judging from yesterday's game, what you saw, that shit show you saw yesterday, tell me one player who had that attitude, who had that will to win, who had that desire. And please don't mention João Pedro because he was just a passenger. So who?
Archimpong.
Okay, I will take that, but he was responsible for the equalizing goal.
Let me
The first
today,
goal
I,
was on Fofana.
today I
Who?
want to disagree. The third
First
goal
goal was
was on
Fofana.
Third goal for
Fofana.
Farah, yes, but that equalizing goal to 1-1 was Achimpong he was
No,
caught between a
No,
rock
it
and a
was
Fofana.
hard place.
Tosin. Tosin
Just a
was
minute.
the one who gave away the free kick, and then
No,
Okay,
it hit
we're talking
off
about yesterday. We're
Cucurella's
talking about
leg that
yesterday. We're talking
reflected.
about yesterday's game last
Yeah,
just a
night.
minute.
Atalanta.
Christian, the first equalizing goal, it was on Fofana because Fofana was ball watching and he was the one tasked to cover the striker. Achimpong was focusing on Lukman, who was making a run in the far post. So Achimpong, his man was Lukman. Fofana, his man was the striker. And who was playing ahead of Benoit was the one to defend the near post area. So when Benoit could not get the ball, it was Fofana to head the ball out. It was not Achimpong's fault. Honestly,
Okay,
today
I'll
I'm
take that back.
defending
I'll
Achimpong.
take that back. Okay, I'll take that back. Fair enough.
Go on,
But
go and
who
check
else?
the goal. Go and
No,
check the
I'll
goal.
take that. I'll take that back because I just thought it looked like Achimpong was caught between two players. They didn't know which one to take. But
No, he was looking after Lukman. His job was Lukman, and he took care of his man.
No,
It was
and
Fofana who lost.
Christian, if you remember that game against Arsenal, we conceded a similar type of goal, and it was again from Fofana's side. Two
Yeah,
times, same strikers had free headers.
wow. But who else apart from Achimpong and James looked he had one chance that he should have scored. That was pretty
yeah.
bad.
That's
That was a bad miss. That cost us the game. That chance for 2-0 there cost us the game. And
yeah.
I knew
True,
once he missed that, just that Chelsea have had so few chances in this game. And if you look at that game, there was one thing which is blatantly clear. It's a team which basically didn't know what to do. You can see they haven't played together that often, and there was no automatic running. They didn't know what channels to run down in. It was just random. I don't know. It just didn't look. It was not nice to look at. And to your point, from the beginning of this broadcast, you were talking about Chelsea put up basically their team, parked the bus team with all these defensive type minded mid players, and which is a very excellent point, by the way. Yes, you saw that in the game yesterday. Because attacking, they really didn't know what to do. There was nobody who grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and dictated the pace of the game, dictated where players should run, how they should run, how they should attack. It's just some random stuff there. And Maresca probably thought, I'm going to do a classic Italian style, score to 1-0, park the bus, and that's what, and all that's all that she wrote. But he forgot that, nowadays teams, they don't have the same respect. The smaller teams, so-called smaller teams, Atlanta's not a small team, but they don't have respect just because you're English and you come there, you're former champions, all that. No, they don't care, these young people. They have no respect for anything. So they will attack you. And Chelsea had no answer to that business there. But my second question was, so you just explained that Pochettino improved all these players and even more than the two you mentioned. If I ask you, Maresca, which players has he improved?
Okay, let me now answer both questions. So for the first one,
There's a lot.
okay, you were saying something, Mehdi?
No, go on. I want to hear you
Oh,
first.
okay. So first of all, the first question you've asked about the structure and why the team looked toothless. First of all, Maresca went with an ultra defensive team, especially in the second half. He destroyed everything. Because the minute he took Enzo and Neto out of the game, he killed the attack. One, he took out Neto. Instead of replacing Neto with a like-to-like player and bringing on Estevao, he decided to bring in Garnacho, take Gittens from the left, where he normally plays, and put him down the right, where he's ineffective. He took out Enzo. Instead of taking out Enzo and probably bringing in McGew and then moving João Pedro to the number 10, he took out Enzo and then he brought in Gusto and played Gusto as a number 10. So in the end of the game, Chelsea found themselves with 7 defensive-minded players. In fact, they were how many? They were 3 fullbacks, 3 centre-backs, and 1 defensive midfielder. And then they had only 3 attackers. And out of those 3 attackers, 1 attacker was played out of position. So that is what killed our attack like that. And even in that situation where we have so many defenders, Chelsea were not looking to try and win set pieces. And even when we get set pieces, we are using this silly short corner crap.
Oh my god.
Why don't you just put the ball put the ball in the 6-yard box and have people defend. There was this time when even we had all these defenders, and was it Rhys James or who? I think it was Rhys James. He got the ball, then he passed to Cucurella, and then Cucurella was closed down. Then Cucurella passed the ball to Gusto. Then there was an opportunity for Gusto to play the ball back to Cucurella. Then Gusto was put under pressure. Then he played the ball back to Sanchez. And their away end was booing. The Chelsea fans were like, boo, what is this? We want a goal. What are you doing? This is the kind of thing that this is a calamity, not only in the attacking sense, but even in the, set pieces. Teams are winning games with set piece. You cannot go to try and win a game 1-0, yet you cannot rely on your defense to win you that game. You cannot rely on Tosin and Benoit to give you a clean sheet. You know that. So why are you going with defensive players? Now, the second question that you've talked about is, who has Maresca improved? Okay, there's one player that I can say Maresca has improved. In fact, two. I think under Maresca, Caicedo has been helped a lot. I think the structure that Maresca has given out, it has brought the best out of Caicedo. Under Pochettino, people were still shaky about Caicedo. Is he worth that amount of money? Is he that good enough? Because he was made to cover a lot of ground, the way Pochettino ball was. But under Maresca, Caicedo has really improved. The other player who has improved under Maresca is actually Enzo. Enzo has scored a lot of goals in the last 2 seasons. That was not part of his game. A lot of people thought that Enzo's role is to sit next to Caicedo and help build up. No, but Maresca has improved Enzo. Enzo has been that player who's making late runs. His goals has increased. His assist has increased. So those are 2 players. But
Chalobah, you forget Chalobah.
Yeah, Chalobah also was.
Chalobah
He's improved.
Okay.
He's okay. But one thing I have to give to Pochettino is Pochettino trusted Colwill. When Colwill came from Brighton under Roberto Di Zerbi, Pochettino brought in Colwill. He made Colwill play alongside Thiago Silva. People always forget this. Colwill did not get his experience from Thiago Silva under Thomas Tuchel. No, in fact, Tuchel was the one who sent Colwill out on loan. Thomas Tuchel was the one who sent Colwill out on loan. The manager who allowed Colwill to have that high IQ when it comes to defending and playing the ball, it was Pochettino. He's the one who played him with Thiago Silva. So
but you have to remember he also played a long time. You have to remember he played him at left back for a long time.
Yeah, he started playing him as a left back because it was who? It was Thiago Silva playing with Disasi or who? Yeah, then he realized,
and then Chilwell was left wing.
Yeah, Chilwell was left out, and I don't know what was wrong with
Chilwell was left wing.
Yeah, Chilwell was being used as left wing. That is another mistake that Pochettino was doing. But later on into the season, he started to play Colwill as a centre back, and we started to see Colwill improving. So you can actually attribute that he improved Colwill.
And plus, don't forget, he by random chance, by accident, stumbled upon something which he didn't intend on, because he was desperate. Remember, he was desperate for a right back. What did he put? Put Cucurella, the left back, to play right back, and he excelled at right back.
Yeah.
It's what? Yeah. Remember that? Yeah. Everybody was like, what the hell? Who were we playing? We're playing a top 6 team, and Cucurella was playing right back. And we thought we were going to lose.
And he actually played well. That's another thing. He played well. And actually, towards the latter ends of the season, he started to come up with this tactic of bringing Cucurella in midfield alongside Caicedo. Yeah. And that improved our defense. So I was one of the people who was disappointed when he got sacked. Actually, I wasn't.
Myself included.
Yeah.
Myself included. I was very heartbroken that he left.
Yeah.
Well, I was disappointed as well.
I thought that he was that manager who was, first of all, he was very good with working with young players. That is one thing about Pochettino. So good. If you give Pochettino a player like Estevao, he's not going to limit Estevao and no. He's going to put a hand across him and then he's going to tell Estevao, I see you are playing like the next. He will even say that he's probably the next Neymar, and then he will play him. Look at the way he did with Palma. He kept on encouraging Palma, taking you do. Somebody has me on.
I can hear the echo, yeah.
Okay.
So
Somebody had put him at a loudspeaker so I could hear my echo.
that is
So
someone is trying to phone me. Sorry.
okay, no problem. So there was a way in which he was. There's a way in which he was bringing the best out of even Conor Gallagher wasn't great. It is Pochettino who elevated his game. Even Noni Madueke, even Noni before Maresca came, Noni was playing well. And it was Pochettino who allowed Noni that space. Yeah, but with Pochettino, he was learning the team in the first half of the season. In the second half of the season, then he now understood the team. But I think he elevated Jackson's game. He elevated Palmer's game. And one thing I liked about him is that once he knew that this was your best position and you are comfortable playing there, he wouldn't change you. If Palmer, you're good at playing number 10, you play number 10. If Estevao, you're so good in that right wing position, I'll give you time, you'll play. If Garnacho, you're playing there, I'll give you that time, you play there. If Colwell, you're playing in this position quite well, that's what I liked about him. Now with Maresca, he knows very well that this player is good in this position, but no, I don't want to play him here. I want to play him here because on paper, this is how it looks. This is how I want to play. But you see, on the pitch, it doesn't work.
Maresca, when he was a midfield player in his playing days, was he a defensive midfield player or was he attacking midfield player?
You can tell us.
I'm asking you, just a general question.
I don't know because I've probably not seen him play, but I just knew that he was a midfielder, probably a number 8.
He was a defensive or attacking midfielder, but mainly used as a central midfielder.
Number 8.
Because that basically shows a little bit of his mindset when he sets up his teams. Because if he had that he's got a more defensive-minded philosophy. So he's a defensive-minded coach. He's not not like a Jurgen Klopp attack-minded or Pep Guardiola attack-minded. Pep was an offensive midfield player.
Guardiola was a DM.
Yeah, and he was already losing his hair at that time. I remember for Barcelona, he was used to wear clothes. The clothes used to wear were way too big for him. But maybe that's right. I remember that was, you'll be so focused sometimes on his way he's dressed and way he's losing his hair. You actually sometimes forgot to see that this guy is a brilliant football player. But but it's those days there. But yeah, okay. Then he's evolved from that defensive midfield player there to now have an attacking mindset and always experimenting. Obviously, he's a football genius because he's one coming up with all these new systems and tactics which everybody else copy and paste. And Maresca he's 1 year behind his mentor's tactics. So he has to be up to date, up to scratch if he wants any chance to have any success of winning an EPL title. Because the way we see now, I just think December is going to be a very fucking long month. And Everton, that is a big banana skin, a huge banana skin. And then we go from there.
Was also a midfielder.
But one thing, yes?
Ancelotti was also a midfielder. A lot of managers were midfielders.
Yeah.
Like
You see, one thing that a lot of people normally mistake. A lot of people normally mistake is that they always say that it is Pep who comes up with a lot of these tactics. It's because when Pep copies another manager's tactics, that tactic becomes Guardiola. Like Pep Guardiola, there's this season when he won the league after the treble. He was actually building up similar to the De Zerbi. Yeah, he copied De Zerbi. He was playing the world, and then people were like, "Oh, look at the way Pep is doing it." Even this 3-2-2-3. These 5 attacking players in attack. That system. He copied Tuchel. He copied Tuchel.
But what system did he copy from Bielsa? Marcelo Bielsa.
I will give you the one he copied Bielsa, but you see this having two players and having 2 wide players stretching that he copied from Tuchel. That's why he in that Champions League final he said that Chelsea are so wide at the same time they have Werner and Mount. making that run. So he learned that from Tuchel, where Tuchel had to stretch the pitch wide, and then he brought Mount and Havertz in midfield, and then he had Timo Werner making that run. So he always had a player making that run. He had players out wide, and he had many players in midfield. So the blueprint that helped Pep to win the treble, he learned it from Tuchel.
Wow, how that guy fell off a cliff. My God.
But you guys know, here's an interesting stat. Timo Werner is in the top 10 scorers for Chelsea in the Champions League.
Oh yeah, he was being good for us. I mean, he may not score that many goals in the Premier League, but he's running. He's selfish.
Yeah.
He's hard work. His teamwork. He is very, very unselfish player.
There was a point where he even came out, and I felt bad. He said, "I don't know why Chelsea fans like me. I miss so many chances." That was so sad to hear. You can see his confidence just took
But his work rate. His work rate. Oh my God!
And he was very humble. And so humble.
Yeah,
yes. At least he won a Champions League. Who cares? And
Jackson won a Champions League. Havertz and Mount won a Champions League, and you guys don't like them.
I have nothing personal against them.
Havertz and Mount are like, what's Bambi and who's the other dude? Bro, watching them was painful, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Even though they combined for the goal in the final, you know that meme, right? We tweaking, and then it's those two girls covering their face. That's Havertz and Mount. Like they're just, oh my God.
Mount was good for Chelsea. I don't know why people hate him so much. He was a very good player.
I remember the
didn't leave the club well.
I remember the Carabao Cup. That guy missed 2 chances. He made us how did he make Klopp win 2 trophies on us? You know, he had to create chances. No, Mount. Go and look at the Carabao Cup final. There was a game where, I don't know, was it Rhys James or who? It was Jorginho who slipped the ball for him. He actually even beat Kelleher. And then his finishing was crap. Ah, my God, his finishing was...
But he's suffered at United, that boy Mount. It's only
he's back on his feet. Back on his feet.
But then again, many have suffered under Amorim. That guy Amorim, that is Houdini. So Amorim, he does the same old MO, 3 or 4 or 5 bad results, even though they may win, and then he pulls off a big win, and then goes back to the same cycle. Just when they're about to fire him, a big win, a bit like Ten Hag, same thing. 4 or 5 bad results, pull off a big win, they don't sack him. Go another same cycle. They just kept on repeating. He kept on repeating, and we the opposition fans, we were so happy. Every time they lost 3 or 4 games and they won, we celebrated for Man United. Yes, Ten Hag gets to stay, and but eventually that the oil ran out of the lamp, and they had to get rid of him. But they've struggled ever since. He wasn't as bad as he was. At least he was better than Amorim.
But United aren't bad. Their underlying numbers suggest they're the 3rd best team in the league.
Go and have a look at Bruno Fernandes' numbers. Incredible numbers.
But you see this thing, Mehdi, that you always keep on saying that underlying numbers. I've never seen a league season ending the way underlying numbers says.
Oh, do you want me to pull out receipts? Yes.
Pull out the receipts and show me.
Now he was looking at Bruno Fernandes' numbers. I mean, that's because he plays for United.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at these numbers, bro. He's in the top 99th or 98th percentile for 3 or 4 XG stats. What is this?
I'm telling you.
These are disgustingly world-class numbers. What the hell?
It's because he plays for United. Nobody wants to give him any credit. And this is why.
He's just an unlikable player.
He's a good player.
Excellent player. He's a brilliant player. Without him, United would be relegated.
He's not brilliant. He's like top 5 or top 3 in his position. People just don't want that conversation.
Exactly. And I'm not even a fan, but I've just looked at the numbers. I don't tell anybody, but I saw the numbers, and I think, what? Why is this not being mentioned? Is it because the hatred towards Man United is so big? If he had played for Liverpool, oh my God, you would never hear the end of it. You would think, oh my God, look.
Yes.
And that if he was doing the same numbers as Chelsea, then Carragher was saying, yeah, but for the amount of they paid for the transfer, and yeah, his history, he's not very good, and he's not very sympathetic. No, Carragher would bash him, and Neville and all the other ones would join in, which is anti-Chelsea on social media. But it's a bit like the same with United. The people are so happy to see them do badly. But fortunately for them, it's now Liverpool who are on that receiving end, where they've been bantering United for so long. It's now they've disappeared from social media. I've noticed that you don't see many of them anymore. They're all gone into hiding, and they're all praying and hoping, "Oh, we'll be back. We'll be
But
back."
listen,
No.
you guys were saying like bring out receipts. Do you want the top six or just the title winners every year according to expected goal difference?
Uh, we are not just talking about the expected goal difference. We're talking about the XG points, because
No, expected
XG,
goal difference is
but
the goals against and goals expected to
yeah,
score. So it's the defense and the
it's true.
together.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. It's true, Mehdi, that. But we have also what we call expected points, because you can say that when you look at the XGD, expected goal difference, maybe
Mhm.
one game Manchester City is playing so well, they score 8 goals and they have an XG. They score probably 6-0 and they have an XG of 4. So when we add them, and if they have, maybe Haaland scores probably 15 goals in 5 games, they have won 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 5-0 with an XG of 4 goals. You see, it complicates it, because there is some games where they lose. So I think the XG points is what might give a clear outlook, because XG points focuses on points that they would have gotten across the 38 games of the season.
Let me take a look. If I
So
can
somebody
find
here
it.
is talking about yeah, no cools Jesse. There's Chelsea today. We are not so happy. Yamal, oh, we are never going to sign Yamal.
See, Tyrone, you see expected points and expected goal difference. They're literally almost the same thing. Because
Okay,
expected
okay, read
points
for us.
for
Read for us the
17-18
last. Give us for the
had
last 3 seasons: 20, 23, 24, 24, 25.
okay.
Yeah, give us those
Okay.
2 seasons.
Those last two. Okay, let's see. So for
Give us,
23-24,
yeah,
okay. You want expected points, right?
the expected points for the top 6.
Okay. So first was expected to be Man City. That's where they finished.
Mhm.
Second was expected to be Arsenal. That's where they finished. Third was expected to be Liverpool. That's where they finished. Fourth was Newcastle. Okay, they finished seventh. Fifth was Chelsea, but they finished sixth. So it's like a small difference. Same with Tottenham. They were expected to finish fifth. They finished seventh. So it's very minute. Only Villa and Newcastle are the outliers here. Okay.
You see? You see?
But
Look
those
at
are
that.
two
Look at that.
outliers. The top three.
No,
Yeah.
look at Aston Villa now. People are saying, yes, a lot of people are saying that Aston Villa are where they're not supposed to be. But they're 3 points behind league leaders Arsenal. You see, at the end of the day, because you've said Aston Villa, go and check again. Now look at last season. You'll also see where Aston Villa are supposed. No, last season, focus on Nottingham Forest. Focus on
Last
Nottingham
season,
Forest.
Forest were supposed to be his. Oh boy, they're low.
You see?
Yeah, they're low.
you see, Christian, what I was saying? The numbers tell
They're
you this,
15.
but the
But
reality
then,
is this.
but then it's true because at the end of the day, they do come back to their average position. Like, when people are like, "Oh, Forest are gonna be so good this year," I'm like, "Are you stupid? They're gonna drop down to like 14th." And people are like, "No, no." I'm like, numbers over time, within like few years, they come back to where they're supposed to be. But people are like, "No, no, no." That's why I'm like, Chelsea's a top 4 team. People are like, "No, no, no." I'm
But
like, okay.
you could even see in case of Forest, you could even see how they finished last season, last 10 games. You just go there, the eye test, they tell you they were losing, drawing, losing. So they were on a downward trajectory as it is. But is this so-called Turkish supercomputer or something, which I always hear about? There's some Turkish
That
supercomputer.
guy. The
Huh?
stats guy, the stats guy. Ask the stats guy,
No, but there's a
Mehdi. I
Turkey.
don't even know where he gets the
There's a
stats.
Turkish supercomputer which is supposed to predict all these who's going to win and who's going to lose. So, according to your Mr. Mehdi, according to your, what are you looking for this season? What are they predicting? Who's going to win the champions?
Look, the way I see it, right,
No,
from
no,
the
no.
numbers for
From
this
the
season.
numbers, not your personal view, but just the numbers from the
Yeah,
computer.
yeah. Okay. From the numbers that I see for this season, uh, wait, I've lost the season. Okay, no, I have it back. The numbers suggest that it's gonna be Arsenal,
Oh,
but it's important to mention that I think a week ago, Man City were on like 10.3, Arsenal were still on 16. Now Man City are on 13.3, which is a massive jump. So you have to take that into account as well. The numbers are suggesting that Man City are slowly rising up. So far,
Mehdi,
okay, look, you see, okay, wait, one more thing. Another thing you have to remember is that sometimes numbers are very small. So, for example, right now it will tell you Crystal Palace and United are the same at third and fourth, and Liverpool and Chelsea. But it's tight. It's 6.1 to 7. So anyone from those can end up there. So probably
listen,
Arsenal.
listen, just a minute, Christian. Mehdi,
Mhm.
I saw it in 2 weeks ago when Sunderland were in the top four. When Sunderland was so close, they had actually predicted Sunderland to finish third. That is what Opta had predicted Sunderland. So these numbers are going based on form because I can actually pull out that. Did you see it? They had
No,
predicted.
I'm going based on expected goal difference. Even when
Yeah,
Sunderland were
yeah.
third, it still said they were 17th. It
But
still
I'm
said they were
saying the
17th.
Premier League, the Opta Premier League predictor, the Opta Premier League predictor had Arsenal, then Manchester City, then Sunderland, then Chelsea. So they
Man,
had
that's
Sunderland.
BS. Like, you see, Opta,
Yeah,
obvious, it's easy to predict games on form. Like, even my nan can watch games and be like, oh, that team's most likely going to win the next game. But, like,
but,
being
but
able to know where a team will realistically finish within the next 2 or 3 seasons is more honest. Like, next year, I'm sure if Sunderland are in a relegation battle, people are going to be like, oh my God, how are Sunderland in a relegation battle? But, like, the numbers were there. You just had to see them.
but what I'm saying is this season, what I'm saying is that the numbers might say this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that is how the table is going to be because these computers are also going by form. Because the same computer that is probably saying that Aston Villa are so poor is the same computer. Okay, I know how those numbers are calculated. The same machine, the same program is the one that had predicted that Sunderland is going to finish third, and Sunderland are now going back to their mid-table position.
Mid-table is generous. They should be 17th.
Yeah, you see. And now they are being found out. You saw the way Manchester City handled them, Manchester United handled them. We just joked around by playing a joker in the back. That's how we lost the game. You see,
And
that
no
is the
wonder.
problem. And I've said the problem with this team, the problem with this Chelsea team is that I am just concluding this. The problem with this Chelsea team is that the manager is overthinking a lot. He's thinking about games ahead. He's coming out to be arrogant. He's making silly mistakes with his lineup. And he's playing football on paper instead of playing football on the field. You do what works on the field, not what works on paper. Not that this one tactically looks great on paper, but on the pitch, it's horrible. You see,
I agree.
uh, Chelsea, in my opinion, when I look at this team, I'm like, yes, do I expect us to win the league? No, I don't expect us to win the league because of how our recruitment does. Our recruitment just signs 19, 12-year-old, 16-year-old, 14. Tomorrow they're going to sign a 9-year-old with a
They're going to
prospect of
sign my
playing
son
for
one day.
Chelsea in 2035. So because I know that is how the sporting directors have done. But I do believe that this team has a potential of probably finishing second at best or third, not even fourth, second or
Second
third.
is high. No, Tyron, second is high. Come on.
It doesn't mean that second, it means that you'll be close to first. Even Arsenal finished last year second. They were
Yeah,
not
but
they were
like,
nowhere close to Liverpool. It's not like Manchester City are also flying. No, it's not like Manchester
No,
City.
City are
You
much
can.
better than us. City are much better
I'm
than us. City and
saying.
Arsenal are both
I'm,
much better.
no, when I look at even our defense is way better than Manchester City. Manchester City are only better than us because they are scoring more goals than us. That is the difference.
I don't know,
Yeah,
Tyrone.
it's there. Let me share the screen. It's they are scoring more goals than us. That's the difference. That's the difference. It's not like they are way better than us. Let me just even check the Premier League table. Let me
No,
just share it.
City have the second best defense by expected goals against,
You see, you're going by expected goals. I'm
and
telling you.
Chelsea have sixth
These are the
best
number.
defense.
Look at the goals conceded. Look at the goals conceded.
They have conceded less than us, even there. They have
No, no.
16.
We have
Oh no,
conceded
we have
15.
15. Yeah, but like,
Yeah,
come
and
on, bro.
but
Like, obviously.
listen here, Mehdi.
Mhm.
The time we started to fall off is when we stopped scoring goals, because there was a time when we were the top scorers. Manchester City now
Yeah.
have scored 10 more goals than us. So the days we were scoring more goals, we were actually it was only before the Arsenal game. We were the number one team when it comes to goals scored. So it is us who stopped scoring goals. If we
But
probably maintained our position, we would have scored 10 extra goals and we would have been higher.
yeah, but then look, XG has us on fourth right now, and has Man City on first. So the thing is, you can be top for some time, but then that's why I always say you look at things from a larger sample size. You look at it from previous season, this season. Like sometimes people see us win against Fulham and they're like, "Oh, Chelsea are winning." Oh, even when we were winning at the start, I think people were saying our performances do not look that good, you know? And it kind of did catch up to us a little bit. And you can see the numbers fall as we get caught out. So numbers are there. They also reflect what happens on the pitch when you combine the eye test and the stats together. Because when Chelsea were first, they were free flowing, but their defense numbers were really bad. Now it's more of coming to a balance, which will probably have them as a normal top 14. And this
But
is our level, so we should be happy with that.
but does this,
No, no,
do these
no.
computers take into consideration two things? One, injuries, and two, teams being figured out by other teams. That suddenly the free flowing, whatever, blah blah blah. The other teams have figured out a way to play against those teams. So the computer cannot predict that.
I know. That's why I said
The,
you have to you have to combine the eye test with the stats. That's why I said we probably got figured out. That's why our numbers fell, and that's why we had more of the ball, which is why our defensive numbers went higher because we
you
tried to
see,
break down low blocks more.
you see why okay. I do understand where you're coming from, Mehdi, but in this one, I think we are going to have a big debate, because I am disagreeing with this, because first of all, the computer is not factoring that Chelsea have had red cards. Let me just talk about this red card. We've had a red card against Manchester United. We lost that game. We got a red card against Brighton. We lost that game. We got a red card against Arsenal. We drew that game. I don't think there's any game where we've gotten a red card where we've won a game.
Yeah,
I
but
don't think.
Tyrone, you see what I'm
But
saying?
but
It's not that the computer can predict everything. I'm saying, but you have to combine the numbers with the eye test. You need both. That's why I said
yes,
injuries, red cards, our system being figured out. But
but
some patterns at the end of the day tend to be unavoidable. So we are
but
going to finish fourth.
I'm not going to say that we are going to finish fourth.
We're
I
finishing
still
fourth.
believe we have. Yeah, we can, but I still think that this team has a ceiling to even finish second, because what I'm saying is there are three factors that are affecting us. Number one, we had very key injuries to very key players that affected us. Number two, we
Fatigue.
got these red cards. We got these red cards. Number three,
Hmm.
we have this manager who keeps on picking crap lineups every game. You see, this aspect of lineup is being ignored, because we've had a centre back who has had one of his worst seasons. He's starting before one of the best young prospects to be one of the best defenders for our club. Josh has been so good this season. How has Maresca treated him? He has treated
Okay,
him
you
by
see,
playing this Tosin guy. This Tosin guy cost us the game against Brentford. This Tosin guy cost us the Fulham game, though we won,
guys,
but he cost us.
let me say this. Let me say this.
He
What I
cost,
meant was the numbers will show you where the problems are. They want to show you why. That's why you have to look at it both ways. And it is true because if you go look at Ashenpong's stats, I think he might be our best defender actually. Granted, small sample size, but even the eye test, I feel like matches it. So
yeah, but you see also when you say that Achenkpong might be our best defender, but again they are comparing it based on the few games he has played. You can,
yes,
of course, he's not going to have better stats than Chaloba because Chaloba has played more games. You see, this is where the stats also come into. If both of them had played equal number of games, then we would have said that he's the best. Just like if I play as a defender, then I win my aerial duels, I win my
yeah,
tackles. I play 3 games and I keep 2 clean sheets. And then
you need quantitative and
you play
qualitative
20
data
games.
together.
Yeah, you play 20 games, you keep 6 clean sheets. When
Yeah,
my numbers are divided vis-a-vis the games I've played, people will say that I'm a better defender than you. But you are the one who has been
obviously,
playing more games than me. Yeah, the
sample size
sample
is
size.
important.
Yeah, so
That's what
there's
I
the
also said
aspect.
as well. So that's why I try to combine because I feel like most people neglect the numbers and they just look at the pitch, and I'm like, you need both because like
But
again, okay, let's look at this. The injuries, they look like they're getting better, right? The injuries look like they're getting better. This is what I'm saying. I'm not defending the numbers. The injuries look like they're getting better. So that's one thing we can account for. The system looks like it's being caught out, and the manager does not look like he's gonna change. So those are two
but
things.
But we also see one thing I disagree about the system being caught out is that we have won games with this system. We've won games even this season with this system because before the Arsenal game, this is what I'm saying. Before the Arsenal game, even when you looked at the Premier League's website, the Premier League website, Chelsea were number one in terms of goals scored, in terms of goals against. So Manchester City have scored 10 goals in the last 3 games that have made them outscore Chelsea. Because in that, was it the Leeds game? Which game did they score 5? It was the Fulham game or what? The
Hold
Leeds
on,
game, they scored.
hold on.
The Leeds, yeah, the
They're
Leeds
winning
game,
5-1.
yeah, you see, they won 4-5
Yeah,
Five
but they
because
one.
were 5-1 winning. They were winning 5-1.
yeah, yeah. So they scored 5 goals there. Then in the Leeds game, they scored three.
No, but
They
Tyrone, the
scored.
numbers did
Let
not
me
lie
just.
there. They suggested City had an expected goal of 2 and Fulham had an expected goal of 0. So even
I'm
then,
not.
the numbers showed that the game was actually supposed to finish 2-0, but players were scoring from insane angles. And when you look at the game, it's true. Like, you see Fulham's goals. Bro, they
I'm not
scored like
saying
4
about.
volleys.
I'm not saying about the XG numbers. I'm talking about now the real numbers. Manchester City
Okay.
scored 10 goals. They scored 10 goals in 3 games,
Yeah,
and in
but those
those
are
three
this season
games,
now.
that's what I'm saying. We cannot just come up and say because Chelsea have been poor in 3 Premier League games, then now it means that Chelsea, from a position where they were the best attacking team, before these 3 games, the team that was the best attacking team was Chelsea. The best attacking team was Chelsea. The XG and the numbers, the goals for Chelsea were number one. The XG Chelsea were number one. After
There
three
was a
games,
point
Manchester.
where actually we were the highest, yes.
Yeah, it was just 3 games ago. It was after this international break. It was like it's just before this Arsenal game. We were the best team in attack
But you know that
everywhere.
you know that expression, life comes at you quick.
Yeah, so
This is for Chelsea. This is
so
what
so
happened to Chelsea. Life came at Chelsea quick because they realized, fuck, it's December. We better go back to our usual
Default
nonsense.
setting. Yeah.
And
yeah,
so you keep mentioning the past. Yeah, but what have you done for me lately? It's a bit like this Mo Salah debate. What have you done for me lately? I don't care how many seasons you've been the king, the Egyptian king, whatever. What have you done for me lately? I can't use your.
Damn.
I can't
You're on
use
yeah,
the
what you've
club
done.
side.
I
yeah.
can't use what you did in the past for anything. It's of no value for me here and now as we stand. So what can you deliver? What can you do for me here and now? So I ask you, Chelsea, as a Chelsea fan, what can you do for me in December? What
Yeah,
what is the game plan? How do we get out of this slump?
you see, okay, I do get you, but there was also a point this season where Manchester City went on a losing streak. There
True.
was a point, and
Yeah.
everybody had even gone to predict that Manchester City is going to finish outside the top four. Even
Yeah,
those
but those
computers
people
were
are stupid. Like, who
yeah,
listens to them?
but you see, Mehdi, when that was being said, people, not even people, the pundits, as well as the numbers, as well as the predictors, were having Manchester City to best finish at fifth. And when
That's so
Liverpool had
stupid.
won, as I conclude, when Liverpool won the first 6 games, every computer had predicted that Liverpool are going to win this league with 90 points. So that's why I'm saying, even if the computer says, even if the number says that Chelsea are supposed to finish fourth and Chelsea are this, I'm saying that no, Chelsea can even finish second. Chelsea can
No,
even finish
Darren,
eighth.
you
Let me
see,
just
like,
finish. Chelsea can finish
no.
second.
Okay.
Chelsea can finish eighth. It can happen. It all depends with if Chelsea decides to go into a 6-game winning streak. Will you change your opinion?
The funny thing about Man
No.
City, the funny thing about Man City, sorry to cut you, Midi. Man
Mhm.
City, when they're on a losing streak, no, media is quiet. When Man City is back on a winning streak, that's when you start hearing 115 charges. 115 charges. Then suddenly the narrative changes. It's now, how can we bash Man City? So, and as the same with Chelsea, once we are on a winning streak and we're back there, with Chelsea, they love to build Chelsea up there, put them up there. Oh, look at Chelsea, because they know once they start falling, we can bash them. And I've seen this movie so many times, it's got boring.
I agree. And also, another thing I will say, I'm not talking about numbers like those basic numbers, goals scored, goals against. I'm like expected like tend to be just factual. They don't have biases. Another thing which I think we didn't account for is the silly amount of individual errors which led to higher expected goals against. 3 goals against Bayern. That pass from toss into Leeds generates a whole xg. Like things like that we have to really account for. Sometimes the numbers can also show that we don't have good personnel and not just the system. So that's another thing. And I kind of do agree with Christian, because look, when the pundits come out, when the predictors come out, quote unquote predictors who don't really look at XGD or XGA, they're doing this to get views. So obviously they're gonna, when Liverpool are on a bad streak, they'll be like, oh my god, Liverpool, or oh my god, Man City, because that's what gets the views, you get me? So obviously they're gonna sound unreasonable to get more people to click. But no one in their
So,
right mind would ever think Man City are going to finish outside the top four. Like, you have to
but
be uneducated for that.
but you see, let me just say, last season Manchester City finished third. There was a time when Pep could not even win a game. Even he went ahead and scratched his head. He was even injuring himself because he couldn't believe what was happening. So what I'm saying is, with this league, is that this league is super tight. Just that if Arsenal lose this game, the next, if Arsenal lose the next game, Villa are level on points with them. Manchester City go ahead of them. So everybody will be talking about, oh, Guardiola has found out. Oh, Guardiola is back to his best. Oh, Manchester City are more likely to go and win the league. Because what? Because Arsenal has lost 2 games. Then
But
this same Manchester City that is in the top of the league, this Man City is top of the league. They go ahead and lose 2 games, and then Arsenal beat them. They bypass them, or Chelsea go on a run. Because I say this: if Chelsea win the next 5 Premier League games, will be number 1 or number 2. I've said if. It is not a must they are going to win. I've said if Chelsea win the next 5 games consecutively without losing, Chelsea will be number 1 or number 2. So people will
A
be saying,
massive
you
if,
actually
Tyrone.
that's how the league is.
Tyrone, you actually believe what
You
we're
think
just
we're going to
saying?
win 5 games? Come
5 games.
on.
I've not said we are going. I've used the word if.
Yeah,
Just the
but
same way, if
But that's
Manchester
a big
United,
if.
but just a minute, if Manchester United win 5 games now, let's just say, if Manchester United, let me not use Chelsea, let's say Manchester United win 5 games now. You see, in these 5 games that Manchester United have won, Man City will drop points, Arsenal will drop points, Aston Villa will drop points. You see? So if Manchester United win these games, Manchester United will either be number 1 or number 2. So Gary Neville is going to come out and say, oh, because Manchester United are not playing in midweek, maybe this is their season. Conte did the same thing with Chelsea, and this season. So I'm saying the season, the league is so tight. If Chelsea lose the next game, Chelsea might be number 9. If we fail to beat Everton, we'll be number 9. And if we lose the other game to Newcastle, we'll be 14th. It doesn't mean that we will finish 14th. It just means that the table is tight. The
table is tight because I'll tell you, Crystal Palace, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea are tight in terms of their XGD. So these 4 teams, sure. The rest, they're just overperforming. They're probably gonna fall off, except maybe Newcastle because they were ridiculed with injuries. I remember. They struggled a bit.
Newcastle's coming back slowly. But you talk about Man United, but who has Man United played? They just beat Wolves. Come on, the worst team in the history of the Premier League.
Yeah.
So they're celebrating, and they're celebrating like that's so embarrassing. It's humiliating.
Their level on points. The level, you see one thing, Christian. This is one thing that we always ignore. You beat Liverpool is 3 points. You beat Leeds is 3 points. You beat Newcastle is 3 points. You beat Wolves is 3 points. We failed to beat relegation team Leeds. We failed to beat Bournemouth that was winless in 5 games. We failed to do that as a team. So I think generally it's not about which team you beat. I'd rather lose all games to the top 6 and I win the other 14 games. I will still be in a title race. If I lose 12 games this season and I win the other games, I'll be in a title race.
I would rather not be Arsenal, be number 1 for so long, and then when the football really starts after Christmas, the wheels come off the bus. You know how horrible, how bad that must feel. That must be so damn painful, man. I can't think of anything worse than to be in that situation. They give you hope. So almost like a child, you give it a lollipop, and then once it just takes one lick of it, you take it away from the child. Oh man, that is cruel. That is evil.
But you see, the league is usually won in the winter period. Yeah, that's Christmas, one thing for sure. Like whenever a team is top of Christmas, they usually win, unless you're Arsenal or Liverpool. That's why they say this period is very crucial. But Chelsea always bottle it.
That's Arsenal. That's Spurs.
But we've also been in a position where, like last season, let's just look like last season. Last season, we had a very incredible run in December. That is one thing that people don't get. Let me even share the screen here. People, the only game we didn't even lose in December. Do you know that? Last season, we didn't even lose in... Yeah, we didn't even lose in December. Let me show you. This is December. This is December last season. Look at that.
Can't see it.
You can't see, bro.
Sorry. Oh.
Bro was laughing by himself.
Yeah, look at that. That is last season.
Man, that is not December.
It is December 2024. You check.
Man, no. That's you've manipulated it.
That is December last season.
They're using AI somehow to manipulate.
Yeah, he's made a fake sheet or something.
That is December last season. I know you don't want to believe it, but that is December last season.
But after Everton, what happened? Because I think we have 3 or 4 more games.
So you see, what happened is the same thing that happened this season. It was like win that Arsenal game and go 3 points behind Arsenal. So it was for Chelsea, win the Everton game and you go top of the league ahead of Liverpool. And what happened?
Maresca came out with his nonsense. No, Maresca came out. Yeah. We're not ready. We're not bullshit there. And then the team just derailed from there.
That's on the coach.
Talk about an own goal. Oh my God. What an idiot. What a doofus. What a buffoon.
So this was how we were. Yeah, this is how we were. And then Maresca because I've told you he's even more conservative than Trump. He's more
We
not
actually
Trump
beat
is not
Brentford last
conservative.
year.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, people don't remember this run. I remember this run. If we won this Everton game, we would have ended the year. We would have been top by Christmas. We would have been
That's
top. We would be
painful.
number one by Christmas.
That's
And then
painful.
after drawing this, we went ahead and lost to Brighton. We did what with Fulham. We had the best fixtures. So that was the problem. So now the wheels have fallen off earlier. So probably if we say this, like now people are saying that Chelsea are just a top 40. That's why I'm saying the league season is long. We've not even completed the first leg of the league. You probably don't know if probably the second half of the season, Rice probably might be injured. I don't wish him injury, but probably he might be out injured and it affects Arsenal's midfield. You probably don't know. Maybe Haaland might get injured and he's out, and Manchester City are not. So there's a lot of dynamics with football to actually say that this team is that. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that if I want to be delusional
One
like
thing I will
Isaac,
never agree with you on is that we're gonna go on a title potential march or finish second. Now that is a different level of
I'm
delusion,
not saying that.
Tyrone.
I'm not saying.
Different level of illusion. Oh my God.
So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if we do a miracle now, and Maresca probably gets a Damascus moment in this Atalanta game, and then he's like, "Let me just play my best team," and then we win the Everton game, then we win the Newcastle game, then we win the Aston Villa game, then we win a couple of games, and then if we just have a 5-win, look at Aston Villa. Aston Villa started the season poorly. Everybody were talking about how the people were saying that the Europa League is affecting Aston Villa in the league. Look at Aston Villa. They have just won 6 games consecutively. They are 3 points behind the first team. Even if Chelsea win 5 games consecutively, you'll be shocked. We might even be 2 points behind, or even probably top of the league.
Even Liverpool still in the win the shout. I mean, as bad as they've been, they're not that far off the top either.
Yeah.
It's I mean, a few games here, 2-3 games of the wins, suddenly Liverpool are back in the mix from nowhere.
One thing I will promise you guys is Aston Villa is not winning their title. That is not a third place team. They have somehow scammed their way into that position. They should be in the bottom half of the table. They're just not good.
I strongly
People are gonna
disagree.
take the things bad, but I know
I strongly disagree.
they are
Very
so
strongly
bad.
disagree.
They are so bad.
I veto. I think they're an excellent team. They what's it called? Harmony. They're fighters, strong. They're old school type. They're all muscular types. They're fighters.
I'm telling you, Villa is gonna finish like either top 10 or top 6 max. You'll see at the end of the season. Chelsea will be 4th, Liverpool will be 3rd, Arsenal will be 2nd, or City will be 1st. One of those two things will happen.
They have the kind of
telling
players.
you, man, you'll see.
They're the kind of players they have there is the kind of players we like at Chelsea. Physically strong,